Hello there, Toon Army. What a brilliant day to be chatting about our beloved Newcastle United, isn't it? The sun's shining on St James Park, and there's plenty to discuss as we approach the business end of the season with Champions League football still firmly in our grasp. What do you think about the potential signing of Fikayo Tomori from AC Milan? Could he be the defensive rock we need alongside Shah next season? And are you concerned about Alexander Isak's positioning in recent games, despite his impressive goal tally? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Part 1. Newcastle United set sights on AC Milan defender Fikayo Tomori. Well, lads and lasses, it looks like our beloved Magpies are already planning for next season's campaign, with some exciting transfer targets emerging. The news that we're interested in AC Milan's Fikayo Tomori has certainly got me buzzing, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. First things first, let's talk about why this potential signing makes perfect sense. Our backline, while solid for much of the season, has certainly shown some vulnerabilities at times. The partnership of Fabian Schär and Dan Burn has served us well. But both lads aren't getting any younger, and if we're serious about competing in both domestic and European competitions next season, we need to strengthen that department. Tomori would be an absolutely fantastic addition to our squad. At 27, he's in the prime years of his career as a defender. He's got pace, he reads the game brilliantly, and he's comfortable playing out from the back. All attributes that Eddie Howe clearly values in his defenders. The fact he's already proven himself at the highest level in both the Premier League with Chelsea and in Serie A with Milan shows he's got the quality we're looking for. What really excites me about this potential deal is how it signals our intent. We're not just looking at any defender. We're targeting a player who was instrumental in AC Milan's Serie A title win in 2022. This is a player who has made over 150 appearances for one of Europe's most storied clubs. It shows that Newcastle United, under our ambitious ownership, is targeting established quality rather than potential. We're looking to bring in players who can make an immediate impact. The fact that Tomori is English and has international experience with 5 caps for England is another bonus. He knows the Premier League, understands the culture, and wouldn't need that adjustment period that some foreign imports require. He could slot straight into our backline next season and hit the ground running. Of course, there's the question of whether AC Milan would actually let him go. The reports suggest they're looking to raise funds for their own transfer business, which could play into our hands. Newcastle certainly has the financial muscle now to make a competitive offer, and if Milan needs to sell to buy, we could be in a strong position. What would Tomori bring tactically? Well, his pace would complement Schär's reading of the game perfectly. One of the issues we've had at times this season is being caught on the break, with Burn and Schär not being the quickest across the ground. Tomori would add that recovery pace that allows us to play a higher line, which in turn would help our pressing game further up the pitch. It's also worth noting that Tomori is excellent in one-on-one defensive situations. In the Serie A, where technical forwards are common, he's developed a reputation for being very difficult to beat in isolation. That attribute would be incredibly valuable in the Premier League, where we often face teams with rapid, skillful forwards. Beyond his defensive qualities, Tomori would add another dimension to our build-up play. He's confident on the ball and can carry it out from the back, something that Eddie Howe has encouraged our defenders to do this season. This would give us another option when teams press high against us. The timing of this interest also makes sense with our current league position. Sitting 4th in the table, just a point behind Manchester City, we're in a strong position to qualify for the Champions League. That European football carrot would surely be appealing to a player of Tomori's caliber. Let's not forget that we've already shown our ability to win silverware under this regime, lifting the Carabao Cup after that magnificent victory over Liverpool. Players want to join clubs with ambition and a winning mentality, and we're building exactly that at St James's Park. I firmly believe that signings like Tomori would help us bridge that gap to the traditional Big Six and establish ourselves as regular Champions League contenders. The project at Newcastle is still in its early stages, but progress has been rapid, and adding quality players like Tomori would accelerate that progress even further. Alright, Toonami, let's talk about our Swedish sensation, Alexander Isak. What a player he's turned out to be, right? 23 goals this season. Absolutely brilliant stuff from the lad. But as true Newcastle fans, we're never completely satisfied, are we? Always looking for that little bit more. That's the Geordie way. The conversation around Isak this week has been interesting. Despite his impressive goal tally, there's been some chatter about whether he's being utilised to his full potential. And I have to say, I think there's some merit to those concerns. In our last match, it was quite telling that his penalty was only his second touch in the opposition box. And that came in the 89th minute. For a striker of his quality, that's simply not enough involvement. Now, I'm not claiming to be the next Eddie Howe. Far from it. I'm just a passionate fan, like the rest of you. But even to my untrained eye, it seems like there might be some tactical tweaks needed to get the best out of our star forward. When Isak is in full flow, running at defenders with that graceful stride of his, there aren't many centre-backs in world football who can handle him. One thing I've noticed is how much more effective Isak seems when Anthony Gordon is in the team. Their understanding has developed beautifully over the season, with Gordon's direct running and crossing ability perfectly complementing Isak's movement in the box. Gordon's absence recently has perhaps contributed to Isak looking a bit isolated at times. What's remarkable about Isak's achievement of 23 goals is that he's managed it despite missing chunks of the season through injury, and sometimes playing in a system that doesn't seem entirely built around his strengths. Imagine what he could achieve with a fully fit squad around him and a tactical setup designed to maximize his abilities. One of the most concerning sights for any Newcastle fan is seeing Isak throw his hands up in frustration when a cross doesn't come in, or when he makes a run that isn't spotted by a teammate. Not just because it suggests he's not happy in that moment, but because keeping a player of his caliber content at the club long-term has to be a priority. Let's be honest, folks. Alexander Isak is a genuine world-class talent, the kind of player who could walk into virtually any team in Europe. We're incredibly fortunate to have him at Newcastle, and we need to do everything possible to ensure he feels valued, involved, and most importantly, that he's at a club that matches his ambitions. The upcoming game against Chelsea is absolutely massive for our Champions League hopes. Getting a result at Stamford Bridge is never easy, but with the quality we have, particularly in Isak, we've got every chance. I'd love to see us set up in a way that gets Isak more involved in the game, with more service into the box, and more opportunities for him to do what he does best: put the ball in the back of the net. It's interesting to consider what a fully firing Isak could achieve in a Champions League campaign. The thought of him testing himself against Europe's elite defenders is mouth-watering. And let's be clear, he has the ability to shine on that stage. His technique, his composure, his finishing ability. He has all the tools to be a star in European competition. The club has shown real ambition since the takeover, culminating in our Carabao Cup triumph. Keeping players like Isak happy and committed to the project will be crucial if we're to continue on this upward trajectory. Yes, 23 goals is fantastic, but I genuinely believe he has the potential to be a 30-plus goals per season striker if we build the team around him effectively. One aspect of Isak's game that perhaps doesn't get enough credit is his link-up play. He's not just a finisher. He can drop deep, hold the ball up, and bring others into play. This versatility makes him even more valuable. But it also means the team needs to be on the same wavelength to make the most of these qualities. As we look ahead to next season, with hopefully Champions League football to enjoy, keeping Isak firing on all cylinders will be absolutely crucial. Whether that means tweaking the system, bringing in players who complement his style, or simply building more of the attacking play around him. It's something Eddie Howe and his coaching staff will need to focus on. The fact we're even having this conversation about a player who's scored 23 goals shows just how far we've come as a club. Not long ago, we'd have been delighted with a striker getting into double figures for the season. Now we're discussing how to get even more out of a genuinely elite centre forward. What a time to be a Newcastle United supporter. Well, that's all from St James's Park for today, lads and lasses. Keep supporting the best team in the world, and I'll be back with more updates soon. Champions League football is within our grasp, and with players like Isak leading the line, the future is looking incredibly bright. Away the lads!